addition of Night coming in from Gangsters, that's something you need, I think. That's a great move to have. Night is, I think, one of the most consistent players Critical Ops have ever had. So having that guy is never going to be something that's going to set you back. This guy is actually able to carry the game himself, and it's always a good thing to have someone like him.
This is the Legends of Seops Night.
So I'm actually from the Northeast, a little small town of Manchester, New Hampshire. Grew up there mainly my whole life. And I got into mobile gaming around the age of like 10, 11-ish, maybe 12.
From Heroes of Order and Chaos, Modern Combat to Critical Ops, Night has developed a passion for mobile gaming. His competitive career would start in Heroes of Order and Chaos, but would eventually blossom after entering Critical Ops. From unknown to world champion, Night has certainly become a pillar of a growing scene.
I originally played a game called Heroes of Order and Chaos. I'm not sure if anyone's heard of it, but it's kind of like a MOBA, almost like League of Legends or Heroes of the Storm, Paladins, something like that. I played that for maybe 2 to 3 years. I went competitive with it. I was in a top 50 team in the world. And quickly, like, mobile gaming grew to be like something that I enjoyed it, and I could just like take everywhere with me. I spent a lot of my time doing that. And then I kind of moved into Modern Combat because Heroes of Order and Chaos got a little boring for me. I got tired of like the 40-minute games. So I wanted something that was a bit more fast-paced, and I think it was Modern Combat 4 at the time that I started playing Modern Combat 4. And that was my first FPS I ever played. Not even on mobile, just in general. In my whole life, it was the first-person shooter I ever played. I think I played it for maybe like a couple months off and on. I still played Heroes of War and Chaos, but I was kind of getting into the FPS genre. And I believe it was an advertisement. I really do think it was an advertisement. I clicked on a video maybe I was watching a video for extra credits or whatever they have in Modern Combat. And it was just a video of Critical Ops. And I was like, wow, that actually looks really cool. So this was when, this was way back in Critical Ops when the maps weren't the same names. They had like Barcelona, Amsterdam. So it was pretty long ago. And the first game I played, I remember thinking to myself, like, this is the most fun thing I've ever played in my life. And I was straight up hooked.
Night would begin his Critical Ops career using an Android phone. He struggled, but not only made it work, but would put himself in position to join great teams as well as build great friendships.
Back then I was playing on a Droid Turbo 2, so it's an Android phone. We all know Android was never the best at running Critical Ops very well, so I struggled. This was in August 2015 that I actually started playing Critical Ops on my Android phone. And I still remember like playing with my thumbs, and just chilling, meeting new people. That was back when people had to kick to set up scrimmages, and like clans and stuff like that. And very quickly on, maybe my first 3 weeks of playing, I met somebody named AZA Aximal in a public match, and that was actually the leader of AZA at the time, a very OG clan. And we talked, we gave each other our kicks, we contacted each other through that. And I think I had a tryout, maybe it was like a 1v1 tryout or something, I don't remember what it was. But so obviously I passed, and AZA was my first ever clan straight off the bat. And I think I was probably in AZA for maybe 6 months. I spent a long time in there. And I still played Thumbs. I hadn't even heard about Claw. No idea what it was, never heard of it. I was just playing Thumbs, and I was doing pretty good, pretty good for a Thumbs player on a Droid phone. And then inevitably, eventually, I left AZA. I wanted to play with better teams and stuff like that. So I actually, I think I made a team called Noble Gaming, and a couple people nobody's ever heard of. They left the game a long time ago. But they actually introduced me to my first tournament. It was the Ardent tournament a long time ago. And that was the first tournament I ever played in. We got smacked. We got crushed. The game I played, I think we played, I don't remember who we played, but I know we lost. Our team disbanded shortly after that. But that was my first taste of the actual tournaments in Critical Ops and actually how much fun it was. And from that point on, I was pretty much dedicated to becoming like a better player and joining better teams and stuff like that. So I worked my way through the ranks. I was still on my phone. I moved through Rays, an old clan with Diego, and then I finally found one that probably people will recognize, hopefully people will recognize, Domination, which actually was led by Judgment at the time. I joined it with my best friend Godsley, and we were a pretty good team. We played Kings at the time, which was like almost unheard of. Like Kings didn't scrim anybody, and they ran over everybody they scrimmed because they were the top team. Nobody came close to them at that time, and just to get a scrimmage against them was like something to be very proud of. And that's something I remember very specifically, is that sometimes we would play them. You know, we never won, but it was like such an honor to me at the time just to like be in the same lobby as some of those people I remember. Yeah, and you know, stuff with Domination went fine. I was in Dom for a long time, maybe a year of my Critical Ops career, maybe 8 months to a year. I think I was in Domination, and I formed a really close bond with Judgment. You know, so, you know, in fact, I knew him a long time before Gangstars. It was me and Judgment.
Not everything was always easy for Night. He would break his phone and be away for months. With still having the urge to be competitive, he received a gift from his dad that would help him jumpstart his career. From learning Claw to success in ESLs with D2R, Night was ready for his next chapter in Gangstars.
My first break really came when I actually got my dad's old iPad 1, like the first model of the iPad. This thing was extremely bulky. Like looking back at it now, I have no idea how I ever played on it. But that's when I first learned Claw, is on the old iPad 1. And I remember Judgment, we still contact each other, and he kind of taught me how to play Claw. And I think I joined an OK team. I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was Divine at the time. And then you know, obviously in Divine, I became friends with Jackson. And then later on, Jackson actually got me into D2R, like a fledgling D2R back at the and I know you remember that because you were around, that was your team, obviously. But that was the very first beginnings of it with Alpha and Jackson. And I remember being there for the first time, and then when I got my iPad Air, or my iPad Air 2, that's when everything really took off for me in a competitive sense. So this was probably around like 2 years. I'd spent 2 years really down low, just on a Droid phone playing thumbs. I'd probably spent 2 years at that time, and my career it didn't even really kick off until I got my iPad Air 2. And then, you know, I started playing ESLs with Alliance. I mean, I started playing ESLs with D2R. I just was really, you know, kicking it with my new iPad, you know, and it brought me a lot of attention. And that, in fact, that attention is what attracted Judgment to me. Just the attention. We won a couple of VSLs, and I know that's, you know, a big subject to debate, because I think we had a couple hackers on the team at the time, which none of us knew about. But winning the ESLs, you know, brought me enough attention to, you know, pick up the eye of Gangstars, I guess you could say. So Judgment sent me a DM one day, and I still remember it. And he was like, "Would you maybe want to like trial for Gangstars?" And obviously, it was a big decision for me, because I was in D2R at the time, but my whole career, you know, I wanted to find that team that was at the top and join that team that was at the top, and Gangstars at that point was that team at the top.
With this impressive play in ESL under D2R, Night was offered a trial for Gangstars. This decision would forever change his career and ultimately help define his spot among the greatest to play the game.
So I actually risked it all, risked my whole career, just to be on trials for Gangstars. I left E2R, moved to trials. I think I passed them. I mean, I know I passed them. I passed them with King A, I believe. And that was actually the time that Cam and J7 both had just joined Gangstars. It was when I joined. So I joined right after Cam and J7. And then, well, we all know the rest is pretty much history, but I spent a long time in Gangstars, almost a year of my life. I met players like Solar, I met players like Elite, Talkies, just a lot of great players. I know some of them have like tarnished reputations, but we won pretty much everything constantly for a year, pretty much untouchable. I know we lost one Valiance to E8, but I think we pretty much won everything else that I can imagine. We really were the top team, undisputedly, for a long time.
But I don't see this happening any day. 13-4 should be the scoreline after Fishbit dies. It's only a matter of moments. He needs the best clutch of his life. Not gonna happen. Not gonna get through the first obstacle. Solar finds the last kill, and Gangstars flawlessly win against IFL. 13-4.
Up, but not this time. Is it even necessary? Joker pushing in. Oh no, Cosmos, you cannot miss that in the finals, but doesn't matter. Two players and Gangsters, they are gonna be your... Are they? Only one player remaining, so it's all a matter of time. If Shake clutches this, you are a damn beast, but he has shown some amazing critical ops today. Can he do it once more? Joker ready and waiting for him. He's just trying to find those picks, pre-firing the spot. He's past the player, but not able to get the kill. He does find Joker. Last player is really low. 16 HP. Time is ticking away. Kingy against Shake. Both players with the same amount of HP. Who's gonna get that title? And it's gonna be Gangstars. They are your America's champions.
Last time, Night is almost here. Takes a god all up to Blue Eyes once more to keep Hammers alive in this finals.
Blue Eyes, last remaining hope, not gonna make it. Night is gonna get that title to the Gangstars' hands, and they're gonna be crowned as the champions of Mobile Masters. They have won the 15K prize, and a well-deserved victory from the boys from the North America.
And your first ever offline champions here in Critical Ops. Gangstars have done it. They are the champions, 2-0, not losing a single game here today. Phenomenal performance for them. They can go home over the moon with this performance.
Night was now a champion and on top of the world. After winning multiple titles as well as the first offline event at the Amazon Mobile Masters in Seattle, Gangstars decided to leave the critical ops scene after some time. This left Night with another critical decision for his career in critical ops.
Gangstars eventually disbanded and left the critical ops scene. And that's kind of where my most recent story begins. As you know, in Hammers, I think I've been there for maybe 2 months now. It's going great. It was so extremely exciting for me to be in such a to be in Gangstars for such a long time and then leave. I was very nervous about joining a new team and how it would be for me fitting in, but Hammers really welcomed me like nobody else had before. Just a crazy, incredible group of people, very talented, and just immediately it was like I fit in. And the most recent leg of my journey has been obviously Valiance, and just it's been crazy playing with them, and we've had some good games, and hopefully we can win the whatever bracket we're in, the South America and North America.
Yeah, the Americas.
Yeah, the Americas bracket, and that's kind of where it's all at right now, is just hoping to win the Valiance this season.
Insanity Killers against Hammers.
The Hammers U4X seems to be turning into a rivalry. Last season was U4X was the better North American team. This season it's Hammers. I think it would have been more heartbreaking if Hammers lost again.
I mean, it's like the story. It's how the story builds up. You know that they're always kind of failing in those finals, even though these are the grand finals.
$18,000 between all of them. They're going to have something on them. There's going to be some cash. Is that even going to be enough? Some of them have cavalries and rifles, but no utility to speak of. They have to steal around the way somehow. So if they can pull it off, and they are deciding to go into light gallery. This is where they want to go, but there's an aggressive push here. High with the P90, and Gary not looking his way. Now he rotates the back, but able to cut him down. And on the side, they're making the frags happen. Still, Fishbit is up top. And Fishbit takes 2. It's all up to Gary. But 2 health remaining, not going to happen in the end. Hammers Esports will be the champion of the Autumn Invitational. 13-6 in the last map, but 3-2 is the score.
With Night and Hammers Esports taking the Americas title in Valiance, he has now cemented championships in 3 of the biggest teams in Critical Ops: D2R/U4X, Gangstars, and now Hammers Esports. As his legacy continues to build, he stays humbled, knowing that this was all a dream just a few years ago.
To me, there's actually just there's no better feeling than that. There's really it's, I almost can't explain it. It's just so magical to me. It really is, because I remember when I first started the game and I first found out about teams like Kings and SXC and OL, and how much I looked up to players like Angel, Cam, Smiley, Retros, and now I play with those people. You know, I played with Cam, I've played with Retros. It was always my dream, and I know that sounds corny, but that's seriously, you know, it always was my dream to be known like that. And I was that player who looked up at these players, you know, and wanted to be them. And now I have people who look up to me and who want to be me, and that's a feeling that can never be replicated, in my opinion, and is something that I am extremely grateful for personally, because I just know what it's like to look up to something like that. And now people look up to me the same way that I looked up to all these people before me, and it's just really, really, really amazing, and there's no other word for that. Honestly, the first real big shout out I have is to really thank my brother Godsley, because he was one of the first friends I made in this Critical Ops community, and he was actually the one who pushed me to become a competitive player. And we were in every single team together. We didn't go anywhere without each other. We were kind of a package deal, just straight up brothers in this game for a whole year. And then, you know, next of all, I got to thank Judgment, because without Judgment, I wouldn't be where I am today. And that's something that I will never forget, you know, because we had that connection in Dom, you know, it carried over to Gangstars, and he really helped, not even me as a player, but me in my career sense. He also helped me with that. And of course, I have to, no matter what, I have to give a big shout out to, you know, you, Legacy, for, you know, inviting me to D2R and really believing in me in that. And to add to that, I have to thank Joker, you know, for accepting me into Gangstars, because couldn't be there without him. And I think that's really it. That's the big 4 that I have to thank.